GVSU defends home field in an 18-15 win against Michigan Tech, where early on in this game, I believe the last play of the first quarter, Michigan Tech lost Nick Nora in this game, which was an absolutely huge loss for them. Nick has been a very big component of not only this offense, but also punt returning as well. And he played very, very well when he had some time to play in this game. 4 receptions, 25 yards. Truly seemed like after he went out, the punt returning obviously wasn't as effective. I do think that truly played a big factor in this game. So I hope Nick is fine. It sounds like it was a hip issue. Hopefully he can play in the last game because, again, I think this Michigan Tech team is really, really fun when they have all their weapons. And they didn't necessarily have all their weapons in this game, but to full-on credit, Grand Valley did play pretty well in this game, especially defensively. They got out to a pretty decent lead. They got out to a 6-0 lead from a touchdown catch from Griffin Shinrock, which, congrats to him. That is his first career touchdown at GVSU, so congrats to Griffin on that. It was a 7-yard touchdown catch from Andrew Schuster. GVSU then responded pretty quickly after that, a little bit in the second quarter, with a safety in this game. I believe it was either a holding call or it was either a grounding or an intentional grounding. Go up 8-0 in this game, and Michigan Tech quickly kind of fought their way back, though, because Jake Roof started to get a little bit more involved running the ball. And it was a 7-8 game at this point, but GVSU continues to respond every time Michigan Tech kind of gets themselves back in this game, because Kellen Reed is one of their best wide receivers. He had a really nice game in this one, had a 23-yard touchdown catch to give GVSU not only the lead, extended the lead, but also Michigan Tech obviously never takes the lead. They never did take the lead in this game as well. It did take a late touchdown from Alex Bueno that ended up getting it to a 18-15 lead, but that was about 2 minutes left to go in this game, and GVSU ended up getting the ball back, getting a first down or two, and then securing the game because of a couple of rushing attempts from Brady Drogosh. He continues to be a guy that GVSU uses in the run game a little bit, and they were a lot more effective running the ball than Michigan Tech. I think that's truly the biggest difference between what GVSU was able to do offensively compared to Michigan Tech, because Michigan Tech and GVSU were really only 10 yards apart when it came to passing the ball. But when one team runs for 154 yards, the other team runs for 91 yards, and you still have the safety that end up being a big difference, because there's a real possibility that if that safety doesn't happen, guess what? Michigan Tech can go for that two-point conversion, tie it, and then we never necessarily know what happens. So when you have safeties in games, especially when a defense is performing very, very well, up to kind of that last 2-minute touchdown by Alex, that's going to play a big favor into what you want to do and kind of control the clock. And I think even though that GVSU didn't score a ton of points in this game, because of how they played defensively, they were able to control this game and never truly kind of feel like they were going to lose it, not only because of their passing attack, 220 yards, but because they were able to run the ball, because they were able to have time of possession in this game. If you look at just time of possession, GVSU had a little bit more, 31 minutes, almost 32 minutes of time of possession, which basically means that Michigan Tech has 28, which isn't like the biggest difference, but still a difference. And obviously that time of difference truly was kind of like the last like 2.5 minutes that they got the ball back, where they end up getting the first down, getting the win, and end up being a really, really big win for GVSU. It's a win that they absolutely needed to have. It's a win that they basically controlled from the get-go. This is a GVSU team that is 6-3 right now, and they're outside of the playoffs looking in. This is a Michigan Tech team that kind of also needed this win as well. Alex Bueno was back for this game. He wasn't playing the last couple of games because he didn't necessarily have to. I thought even though this was kind of his first game back, Alex did perform all right I think he would have wanted that one interception back in this game. Did have one rushing touchdown, like I mentioned at the end, 42 yards on the ground, 210 yards through the air. He did a lot of this offense for Michigan Tech because without him, like they wouldn't really been able to produce very many yards. He's a guy that is that impactful. He's a guy that truly is one that you can work at offense around. Like he had like 260 yards out of the 301 yards for this entire team. And obviously when you can throw the ball effectively, when you don't run the ball as effectively, you're going to have your quarterback take a majority of the amount of yards, and he was the leading rusher as well. So that's a lot of kind of the impact Alex Bueno had in this game. But outside of that, I thought Andrew Schuster performed decently well in this game. You have to obviously give him credit. Wasn't the most accurate overall. Did have one interception, did make one mistake, but had 2 touchdowns. He's a guy that even when he makes mistakes, he responds. He's not going to be a guy that's going to run for a ton of yards. That's going to be kind of Derek Woods. That's going to be Sion Ushma Harper. That's going to be Pascal Jolman. Andrew Schuster did have 23 yards, so he is capable of doing that, but he's maybe not kind of the running quarterback Alex Bueno is. But even when you have the type of quarterback like Andrew Schuster, that's still going to make the defense rely on having the great overall technique, just focusing on not letting him get outside of the pocket because he has some ability to hurt you, just not maybe the legs that other quarterbacks have. But even at that point, it truly didn't matter because I thought GVSU, again, was the much better team in this one for the most part. I think the score in the end maybe didn't show exactly how close this was. I'm not saying it wasn't close. I truly do think it was close, but I think the score at the end kind of shows a little bit of a closer than it actually was. And I think that is just because, like I mentioned at the beginning, Nick Nora, I truly think, was a really big loss for this Michigan Tech team. They did have other guys step up. Ethan Chapney is a guy that continues to step up. Bryce Kearns is a guy that has stepped up as of recently. Leading wide receiver Jackson Lippert was another guy. Ethan Hull as well. Drew Collins. Those guys had a couple of receptions as well. But when you don't have one of your top 2 guys at the wide receiver position and you're struggling to run the ball, it's going to put a lot of pressure on these other guys to step up. And I truly do think they did. But I think if Nick Nora played in this game a little bit more, I think this would have been maybe a lot closer of a result on the field, like looking wise. Do I think the score probably changes? Yeah. I honestly do think Michigan Tech maybe wins this game if Nick Nora is healthy. I truly think that is kind of the impact that he has for this Michigan Tech team. But you have to also give credit to GVSU for taking opportunities, to doing really well defensively, and you also have to give credit for Michigan Tech for fighting in this game. I thought both teams performed decently well. I thought both teams fought very hard. I think they're 2 really good teams, and one team had to win, one team had to lose. GVSU was able to just defend home field, which they have been able to do for the majority of this year, have lost at least 1 or 2 games at home. So definitely part of the reason why they're outside looking in, but you needed to get this win to even have a chance. I still think it's a long shot either of these teams make the playoffs, but hey, you never necessarily know. It was a good win for GVSU and a hard-fought battle for Michigan Tech. So if you enjoyed this recap, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment. I'll obviously talk about GVSU's last game, Michigan Tech's last game as well. And thank you for tuning in. Make sure to tune in to other previews and recaps.